All right, welcome everybody to our Stanley Kubrick ranked video. We've gone through all of Kubrick's films in his filmography order. It's been a blast. Had a great time. Saw a lot of films that I hadn't seen personally, but now we got to do the tough work of putting them in order from worst to best. This is one of the toughest lists I've ever had to make, and I'm a guy who makes lists, and I knock that shit out of the park like very easily, like chunk that out. And this is honestly one of the toughest lists I've had to make.
Yeah, I feel that this is same. I feel like this is, it's a list. It's subject to change.
Yeah.
But
that's what I feel. I'm like, I could change this next week. I feel like, especially this one. Most lists, I'm like, yeah, I'm like that. I'll change that in a year.
They're all good movies, so it's like hard to shove them down lower.
It's hard to delineate quality when there's so much quality everywhere.
It's just top tier.
Yeah,
top
it's like,
tier.
how do you choose one or the other?
Yeah.
But if you guys are ready, we might as well just get into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Who wants to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll kick it off because I actually have. I think most of us have 11 films, but I have a 12 because I went through all of his old shit too. But number 12, I put as Killer's Kiss. So this is like his first movie that he made. Virtually no script, like no budget. He was just on the streets filming. Basically no story. Not very good film, honestly. You can see him like playing with the camera and characters and stuff, and like there's a set piece at the end with a bunch of mannequins that's kind of cool, but like very loose. He calls it an amateur film. That's what it is. So that's my number 12. That's an easy 12. That one I don't think will ever change. So that's one I'm solid on. But I'll just go into my number 11. This is crazy because this was hard to choose the worst film for me, with the real one. But I picked Lolita.
Really?
Yeah, and it's crazy because this is still, like, in my opinion, like a phenomenal movie. Like, it's a very well executed movie, like a very cohesive journey and the downfall of one selfish man type of story. So I had a tough time even putting it this low because I wouldn't want to put this on a list, but this one just kind of felt the most disconnected from like the material. He took it on his own path, obviously, which he does for all of his movies, but this one just felt a little tone deaf at times and a little overlong. Great movie, great performances, but I had to pick one to go last. And this is Lolita was mine. So.
Oh wow! All right. Well, my number 11. I might get suffocated in my sleep for this. You guys ready?
Let's hear it.
2001: Space Odyssey.
Oh shit!
This was one of the most. Like, this man just, I don't know. I was so greatly disappointed with this movie. Not that it was just so long and like the pacing was horrible. Like, it wasn't necessarily a long movie, but it just felt so long and it just felt so like self-indulgent. Like, this dude was just going hard and having a good time, and I'm glad he was. Obviously he impressed a lot of people, but it just felt like some parts were just like, that was just too long. Characters were kind of flat. I mean, yeah, you have the AI stuff where it's just kind of like, at that time it was fresh and interesting, but it's just kind of like, meh. I don't know. Didn't do it for me. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
No, fair enough.
I know you guys enjoyed this one quite a bit. Yeah. So
that's all good.
But my number 11, 2001: Space Odyssey.
The Void. All right. Yeah. Bottom of the barrel for me. I put Paths of Glory down there. Mostly because I think there's better Kirk Douglas later on, Spartacus and whatnot, but also that like he makes a much better anti-war film later on, and I'm just like, if you're gonna watch either of them, like go for Full Metal.
It is like the only film genre I think that he kind of repeats.
Right.
Even because they're very different films still, but
he kind of touches on like different aspects of the like war and stuff. Like this one's more of the political side.
And Full Metal Jacket. I remember back then you were like, you wanted more boots on the ground stuff. And Full Metal Jacket is definitely that. So.
Yeah, and that's what that side is. It's like the actual war side, and then Strangelove is the comedy of like the silliness of what
political
actually happened.
Satire of it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, That's why I give him a pass on like, yeah, he doesn't really stick to a genre, but that's one that he kind of does, but he mixes it up enough to where it's fresh in each one of them. So, but okay, sorry.
But yeah,
Little
that's
tangent there.
no, you're good. That's just all part of the culmination of my reasoning for putting it there. Mostly just because Full Metal is there, and they're both they're both saying similar but different things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just Full Metal's there. So
All right.
Alrighty, yeah. All different low movies.
Yeah, all different last ones.
Okay, well, I'll move to my number 10. My number 10 is The Killing. This is one that I think I could move higher on a couple rewatches, I think, because this is, like I said, any movie like Lolita and above is a fantastic film. But it's just like, if I could get over like the absolutely nonsensical timeline of this movie, I think I'd love it a lot more.
Yeah.
But and I like the nonlinear format. It's just so much of it and so badly executed that it kind of just tanks it for me enough to be like not executed to its fullest extent. So maybe I'm just a little harder on this one because I did really love the end of this movie. I think it's a great ending.
For sure.
But this one, like I said, maybe higher in the future. Just right now, it's got to be number 10 for me. So.
All right.
I can. Sorry, I don't. Mine is also The Killing at 10. So
Interesting.
We'll throw that out there probably for similar reasons. Same, like go back and watch our video and you'll hear all my complaints.
Yeah, all these have more in-depth explanations if you care
Right.
to go listen. So.
Yeah.
This one was tough for the bottom picks. I obviously put 2001. That'll divide everyone and make them want to.
Instantly alienated 50%
Yeah.
Right.
with that one.
So my opinion
Rage
probably
filled.
doesn't matter to anybody right now listening.
They're all
They're just
giving
like,
you the middle finger right now.
Right.
Yeah.
like, who the fuck is this guy talking right now? Stupid. But Lolita is my number 10.
Fair.
Pretty much similar reasons. It just felt a little long in the tooth at times. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it was a crazy premise, but tastefully done, if you will. A little weird at times, but I mean, it all came around and it worked out, and it's still a pretty good film. It's just not my favorite.
Nice.
So weird. Yeah.
And what are we on, number 9 now?
Number 9.
Man.
I'll start it, I guess. 9's Paths of Glory for me. Similar to what we said, but I struggled just putting this one so low because it's a very good movie, man. I mean, it's so like heartfeltly poignant that I struggle to like look down on it even, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
just doesn't have like the hook or the panache of some of his other movies. Obviously, a lot of characters, a lot of scattered storyline that is giving you the full picture, but just doesn't kind of bring it all home. Still great moments. Great. It's a beautiful war movie. But it's at number 9. So
My number 9 is Spartacus. This one really just didn't do it for me. I mean, I thought about putting this one at my lowest, but then I thought more about it. And that's the thing about making this list. It made me rethink a lot of the movies, which is probably a good thing because I really dunked on them in the past, and I have a little bit more appreciation now. But yeah, Spartacus just kind of didn't feel good for me. Douglas was kind of miscast, in my opinion, and that really just set it off on a spiral of not really engaging. So,
all right, fair.
I think that's fair. Yeah. My 9 is Lolita for aforementioned reasons, like long, good story, just a bit long-winded, and I'm happy you introduced Pete Sellers to me. Like thank you, Lolita, for that. And a good story, but just it's just not one of his filmography that I'd go back and pick up because I felt like it, or throw on. Yeah, like so. Yeah,
it's kind of interesting. That's all on the lower ends for us.
I think some of these are
for most Kubrick fans, but
yeah, indicative of it. But
it's also just weird as shit material. So a lot of people are just
what
gonna
a strange premise.
Yeah, awkward, uncomfortable. Yeah.
Well, speaking of awkward and uncomfortable material, my number 8 is Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah, this is the most recent, so I need to. Like I said, this list might be wrong, guys. Honestly,
it's wrong.
There you go. It's wrong.
Already outdated.
Yeah, because I enjoyed this one.
Reevaluate, goddammit.
I enjoyed this one so much more than I thought I would. So, I think it is better than some of his other movies, but it just comes down to like my first personal like instinct and taste at a certain point. And this may be one of his better, well executed movies. It's a little drawn out. The acting's not as solid fully throughout the whole movie for me. But like I said, it's still a must see. It's like it has its own little spot in Kubrick's catalog. And I'll preface anything below what I've just said. I can like be okay with saying that it's like, yeah, it's lower. Eyes Wide Shut is the cutoff for films for me where I'm like, I can't, like, this is like, is a great movie.
I get you.
That turmoil tearing you up.
That's what I'm saying, man. This one's
right.
My what number is this? 8?
Yeah.
My number 8 was Paths of Glory.
A
Just
little
is
higher
weaker.
Interesting.
than I would
I
expected.
enjoyed like the reevaluation making this list. I thought back to it, and it's like there's certain things that kind of landed and were kind of like heavy and stuck with me. So I mean, if it did that, then it did something good.
Yeah.
So it's
think
just
that's
like
fair.
the decisions that were made and the the principles, I guess, that we live by. So just interesting.
Nice.
But
Good
yeah,
point. That movie definitely, there are some character beats and characters that you remember from that movie for sure.
so
It's impactful, for sure.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just makes a statement.
definitely more
My-
powerful than I let it on to be when we discussed it before. So again, I apologize.
We were so young back
Oh,
then.
Yeah.
Naive.
You've changed
How
so much.
naive. Yeah. My number 8 is Spartacus. I'm like leaning towards towards agreement with you, Alex, to where like Kirk might have been miscast for that.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed his performance. I think that production value of that movie is like insane. And if you're into theater, like that's like you can't go wrong with Kubrick in a live theater.
Yeah.
There. So it's on the lower end, but it's like any theater nerd or junkie or like film snob, I think will still like you can still find its merits. It's still a good film and story. So
Nice. All right, moving on to number 7, right?
Yes,
lucky
sir.
number 7.
Alrighty, my number 7 was Doctor Strangelove. This is one that I want it to be higher. I really want it to be higher, but I think I could move it down even if I gave it a rewatch, or I could move it up. It's a great film. It's loads of fun. Like it's like at a nice sweet spot in satire and drama, obviously, and there's great improv, huge comedic like moments and triumphs.
Yeah.
Shit.
I don't know.
I will not forget that general like rolling over
right
in the war room.
Yeah.
Ah,
Just his
so funny.
face staring.
Chewing gum.
Yeah. This movie just didn't grab me like I wanted it to the first time. So if I give it a rewatch, I think it might. But this time, it's got to be number 7. I don't know. I moved it down even. I had it higher because I just want to give this one a little more credit, but I have to give the other ones more credit. So
Yeah.
Fair enough.
My number 7 was Barry Lyndon. This was a fine movie. The ending was probably the strongest point. I mean, obviously, it was intentionally done that he made a lot of the scene just look like old paintings, old oil paintings, which was really cool to sit and think like, wow, this looks like a painting. And then when I read it, that was his intent. I was like, okay, well, he did it. So
nice.
it looks nice.
Artist bastard.
Yeah, right. It looks nice, and it was a fine enough story, but not honestly. I feel like I could move this down and put Paths of Glory above it. Now that I'm thinking about
That's
it.
what like these ones are very easy to try to
Yeah.
move around in my opinion. But what'd you get for number 7, Noah?
Mine's also Barry Lyndon for number 7. So yeah, and same. I'm like looking at my list, and I could switch it with the one that with my 6. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah,
It's tough.
it's in this. Yeah, it's tough. It is tough.
Maybe it's
This is
just
a-
the
this is tough.
spot because I actually just
Yeah.
switched my 6 and my 7 earlier. So,
Oh really?
maybe
Yeah.
it's just this one.
I thought about just switching my what is this? The next one and the next one after that. So we'll see if it
It's tough.
happens.
We're all struggling
If
over
you get
here.
done speaking here.
This is a hard. Yeah, we're at a hard junction. We're at a turning point in the list here, I guess.
I'm firm on my top 4. It's just the ones below that where it was like,
Yeah. Same.
So.
Yeah.
Anything?
But yeah, Barry Lyndon, my number 7. It's a awesome biopic, whatever, like period piece. Yeah, period piece.
Yeah.
Drama. it's pretty long, and it's not something I would always like. Maybe down the road, I'll like pick it up out of his, but it's not the first thing I'd go to going back into Kubrick
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. All right, my number 6. This one was A Clockwork Orange. This one, it probably should be higher, honestly, but it's got great world building. It's probably his darkest movie overall, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just in subject material and overall messaging. Maybe too much narration, a little too much like surrealism for it to like really pop into the upper ranks for me of Kubrick, but it's like a totally unique film, totally its own thing, and
You just don't get it. You're not British.
That's it. Yeah. Maybe one day I'll get it, this one, but right now it's kind of right in the middle of Kubrick for me. So
Mine's same. A Clockwork Orange is my next one. And this is the one where I would want to move it up just one slot, just because I mean it is pretty solid, but
yeah,
it's just I don't know. Something about it didn't really click with me, but at the same time it was still more enjoyable than obviously. It's tough. This middle section is just tough.
Yeah. It's hard to navigate this middle part.
It's an off-putting movie too in general, though.
Yeah.
So that might contribute to why people maybe don't rank it as number 1 all the time.
Yeah.
They did, But what you got, Noah?
Eyes Wide Shut was my number 6.
God damn it.
Yeah, I mean it's good. Like I said, it's one of the it's high. It's in the mid here, but it's better than a lot of his other stuff, I'd say. So, worth a watch and intriguing and weird enough that I might go back and watch it. Very, I don't know. It's not like Lynchian, but it's like pushing that.
Yeah,
I feel like
a little bit. Yeah,
I'm down with it. I'm down with the sickness there.
All right, moving on to number 5. This one for me was Barry Lyndon. I enjoyed this one a little more than you guys did, I guess. I think also, though, Kubrick's period pieces just are a little bit, I just elevate them a little more, in my opinion, because I've watched so many other period pieces that are just absolute fucking shit compared to what he's doing. But
yeah.
Awesome tale with like great acting, great side characters all the way along the journey. There's so many characters along the journey that pop. The sets, and I mean, obviously, like you said, the framing, the painting-esque of it all. This movie set a lot of structure for like filmmakers like Scorsese, and a lot of period pieces I think have to like compete with this one now, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed this one a lot more than I thought I would. It's honestly one of the more engaging ones for me. It sucked me in a lot easier than the other ones, so and I didn't think so. But yeah, number 5 for me for Barry Lyndon.
I think if you're any sort of have any inkling of interest in history, you'll find Kubrick's period piece engaging. It is like an engaging story. Dude that you're following. So,
fucking your cousin's wild, man.
Started off right, and I was hooked from the get-go.
Mine is number 5 is Dr. Strangelove. I wanted to enjoy this one a little bit more. It was the performance by, I can't remember the guy who did the barrel roll. That really elevated the whole experience for me. Like I checked out a couple times, but he always would bring me back because he was just selling it, and it was just, he made it a lot more enjoyable. And the journey I was on, starting off Kubrick, it was kind of pretty low. So I mean, this one kind of was like, okay, this is fun. I'm enjoying this more than
a little hopeful.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a little higher than I expected to. But like I said, I think I should switch Clockwork Orange in this one. But for right now, we'll just say my number 5 is Strangelove.
Nice. And my number 5 is The Shining.
First, The Shining. That's pretty high on all of our lists then.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like upper mid of my list, and I think it's like you know us, I'm a fan of horror, and this is like a very like good piece of film horror. I know you got your gripes with it, Alex, your own problems with it.
Hey, I've come to peace. I've disconnected from the book for this purpose. So
yeah, so it's super enjoyable and pretty like chilling and eerie, and it's like a classic if you're into horror. It's like it is classic. So
definitely.
Yeah.
All right, on to number 4. This one for me top 4 were pretty hard actually for me to like find the right order, but I
Yeah.
put Full Metal Jacket as number 4 for me. I think this is like the most buzzy of Kubrick's movies. It's like I think it might be the one that like permeated culture the most.
Oh my god,
Yeah, probably.
it's
Right.
so apparent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, great film, great journey. It's like a feast of like visuals, characters, and obviously this like really dark take on war that's told on Kubrick's terms, you know.
Yeah.
Great film. It's a ride and you enjoy it, but you feel bad for enjoying it. It's exactly what it should be almost, you know. So
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket number 4.
My number 4 was The Shining. I think what elevated it for this watch through for me was just visually, this is a stunning movie. And I was more in it for the ride this time. I wasn't thinking so much about the book because it is not like the book. So I did what Kubrick did, and I just tossed the book aside and enjoyed what it was. And I mean, for a horror movie, it does the job. I mean, it's not like super terrifying or super chilling,
Yeah.
but it's a good psychological horror, if anything, you know. So I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's really well put together. The color schemes, I mean, shit, it's good. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was in the upper end, which shocked me because I thought this would be in the lower end for me. So maybe
Yeah.
rewatch some Kubrick movies and you might change your mind. I won't change my mind on 2001 though.
Never.
Hard and fast. Nice. My number 4 was Clockwork. Yeah, it's on the top. Like it's in my top 4 for a myriad of reasons. I think it's just like got so much style and like grunge and yeah, just like a cool dystopian take. So I'm all in on that dystopian weird
Yeah.
society world sci-fi whatever. So I think that's kind of what pushed this one to the top, towards the top for me.
For sure. There's nothing
yeah.
like that movie, I'd say.
Yeah,
Honestly.
so out there. It's very so it's like it's very much its own thing. So even compared to the rest of Kubrick's stuff, like
Right.
so.
All right, on to the top 3.
Here we go.
Yeah, this
Big
one,
time.
for
Big
me,
3.
my number 3, Spartacus. So this
Damn
was,
it! I thought this was gonna be your
Damn.
number 1.
Yeah, you know, I struggled with it. This is probably the one that has like most people scratching their heads on why it's so high. I have to admit, I've even kind of second guessed like my enjoyment level of it, if it was too high or not. But I haven't had the will to move this down. This is the only Kubrick film that I have at 5 stars at the moment. I think most of his films will eventually be pushed to 5 stars in my book. I'm worried that this one might be pulled down, but I don't know, man. I had a great time with. I haven't seen a bunch of epics, but this is 100% the best epic I've ever seen. The one aspect I can admit to now is that I can kind of understand that Kirk Douglas is a little bit maybe miscast in this role.
Join the club.
I can see the hamminess a little bit in some people's eyes. For the first watch through, it totally landed for me, but I can be on board with that thought.
Hell yeah.
And it was maybe a little long, but it never felt like unjustified in story or boring overall. I don't know. Even if this is like a studio film that Kubrick considers, you know, not really his film, he can't deny that like he made an epic like spectacle that just like exploded when it came out, and it's a fantastic film. This is definitely probably lower on a lot of people's list, but for me, this one is just such a perfectly compact, epic story that it's just fucking great. I don't know. I got to rewatch it though. So this is number 3, and it kind of throws my next 2 off because this is technically a perfect movie in my eyes as of right now, but the other 2 aren't. But I think they're more enjoyable movies overall. So,
God, now I'm confused. I don't know what you're gonna pick.
yeah. Yeah, what about
Actually,
you guys?
I have a guess. I'm gonna pump my guess in, and I'm gonna lock it in, and we'll see if I'm right. But my number 3. We're on number 3, right?
Number 3.
Yeah, my number 3, The Killing. Really enjoyed this movie. I mean, the inspiration for, Reservoir Dogs and all that stuff, and it just felt like, I mean, it was his first, besides Killer's Kiss, right? This is his first like theatrical, maybe. I don't know the lore, but
his first like successful attempt for sure.
Yeah, and it felt besides the last 2 in his career, it felt like his most passionate and Like he was actually there for the story as well as the technical side of things. And like you said, there was time jumps and all this stuff that didn't really make sense, and they tried to add narration to make it make sense, and I get that. But I enjoyed the hell out of this movie when I watched it, and I was shocked because it is so old, and you wouldn't think a movie would be this interesting, but it was. The dialogue was quick for the time period. It felt like, at least, and it was just well written, and yeah, just a fun watch for me. Up my alley.
Oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on. My tres comas. No, Full Metal Jacket. That's what I landed on for 3. Yeah, I mean it's like you said, permeated culture. Like I think the front half of this movie like really captures people, and then the back half is like, oh, there's a fucked up like war story perspective to all,
Yeah.
like the human toll and the duality of man, all that stuff. So has a lot to say. Funny, smart,
For sure.
daunting, but really good. Really good stuff.
All right, on to number 2.
Here we go.
Yeah, the moment of truth. So for my number 2, I put 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
I couldn't put it at number 1, but I couldn't put it any lower. I don't know.
Mm.
And I think this is where my list starts to like deviate from like not the like perfect movie of like the perfectionism of Kubrick, but more just like my personal enjoyment levels, obviously. I mean, this movie is like an experimental masterpiece, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it had me captivated the whole time. It obviously has like not a perfect structure, but the entertainment, the grand scope of the story makes that easy to overlook for me because it's telling you chapters of that grand story. Had me captivated the whole time. Like I said, like there's swells in music, obviously, and in the story that just hits so fucking high. The sets, the music, the atmosphere, all on point, and the directing is fucking top notch. It's fantastic, and I don't know, it deserves the hype in my opinion. So that's why I put it at number 2.
I mean, I can cut the bullshit here too. That's my number 2 as well.
All right.
Yeah.
The Brothers, 2001.
Floating out in space. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I loved it for probably mostly all the same reasons you did. Like it's like you said, it's like the type of film that first of all influenced so much stuff after it, but it's like it's what film was made for, right? And it's like you experiment and you try different weird things and like model work and like and like it is like a very grand story, and like I think it probably is like hard to tackle something like that. Maybe just for the time too, but I think for me it just killed it. There wasn't like a dull moment for me. I was just like in from the beginning of man to the end of man. I'll be there. So.
Nice.
Yeah. This one could push into like top 1 territory for me. Like this is the one kind of the same page where it's like I didn't want to put it outside my top 3 because it could very well be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna deviate. It's not my top 2. Sorry, guys. Eyes Wide Shut is number 2.
Alex is grounded. Yeah, he's on Earth.
Eyes Wide Shut fucking goes hard.
Nice,
I was so happy about enjoying this one. Because like I watched it in 2 parts when I did watch it, because I started pretty late at night, and it's a long movie. So I paused it after the scene where Nicole Kidman tells him about her fantasies and stuff, and then I went to work and I thought about that, and I'm like, where is this plot gonna go? Like this is just mean. Like I said in our previous.
You were Tom Cruise,
right?
The gears were turning.
I was driving in my car, all sulking, and and I was talking to Sarah about it. I'm like, and I was like reading back scene by scene and dialogue that they were saying to her, and she was like listening to me, and I'm like, wow, I think I'm invested in this movie. So when I turned it back on, I'm like, this is actually really good, and I'm shocked. So
that's cool.
Really liked it. It goes hard, and I'm happy I enjoyed it.
So the top of the Kubrick mountain we have reached. Going to our number 1s. Yeah. And my number 1 at the moment is The Shining. Didn't think this would be my number one when I started this journey. I actually kind of expected it to be a little bit lower, like towards the bottom of the list, honestly. But this was actually a rewatch for me too. I'd watched this 15 years ago and didn't really like it, and then I rewatched this one and just fucking, it just smacked. But I don't know. This is number one for me at the moment. Kubrick, I think, just maybe cracked something with horror. He found a niche that just really suited him. It kind of just melded with his like intentional filmmaking, his slow style, his draw in psychological, aspects of his films.
For sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, something about this one just feels like the full package for me. It's got like the entertainment value, it's got the suspense, it's got great performances, obviously. Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, knock it out of the park, obviously, but it's also
Full
just
package.
visually stunning. Yeah, it's definitely not a perfect movie, so like I struggle with putting it at number one because like should number one be obviously the Kubrick's perfect movie? Maybe, but to me this one is the most entertaining and the most like all-encompassing movie that almost everyone would enjoy of Kubrick's. Like I'd recommend this movie I think over any other Kubrick movie to people as like the one just to watch and be like, you're gonna like that one, So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I settled at number one. We'll revisit later, but number one for me, The Shining.
Very
Right on.
nice. The full package, the cock and the balls. Well, the full package for me was Full Metal Jacket, and similar to Matt's situation, I watched this. Oh, shoot, it's been quite a while, probably 5 years or so. But I watched it and I didn't really enjoy it. But this time I watched it and something happened. I ran out of this room. I grabbed my wife. I grabbed her shoulders and I said, "You gotta see this." And really, she doesn't. That wouldn't be her cup of tea. So I threw her to the side and I ran to my friends and I said, "You gotta see this." So it's just, I don't know, something about it this time. It was so spoke to me. I don't know, and I thought about it for so long afterwards. And when a movie sticks with me that long, it means something. So, it got me thinking, the innocence of man, war, all that good stuff. And, the propaganda behind it all. How we're natural born killers, but at the same time, at our core, we want peace. And it's just a lot to chew on. And it felt like Kubrick's most intentional, like that he had something to say. So.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's obviously well executed, but yeah.
Super, yeah. Good pick.
Yeah. Something about that one does feel more personal than like Paths of Glory.
Yeah.
And some of the other ones. Yeah. I wonder if he's got like a connection or like anything to
Vietnam,
do with the
maybe.
military,
I think like
I
that
think Vietnam
war.
fucked up everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe just
Yeah.
kind of he had to say something about it,
Yeah.
Filmmaker's duty. Glad he did, yeah. That's a good one. My number one, Doctor Strangelove. Or how I learned to stop worrying and love the bomb.
You got to get the full title. Yeah.
Right.
Long ass title.
Yeah. But other than the title being long and arduous, I thought this movie was just hilarious. Like, it was just a good like political satire, and the characters and Pete Sellers improv was like top notch for me. After meeting him in Lolita and just like getting some good pieces there. His dialogue with like the Russian prime minister or whatever, or czar or whatever you want to call it. So
yes.
fucking fun. Yeah, Dimitri. No one's more sorry than me, Dimitri. So we're both sorry. Okay. Yeah, that stuff. That the general. Yeah, like it's like I agree. I think Shining and like Full Metal, like some of these are 2001, like very high profile, but I wouldn't shy away from recommending. I think like most people will like get where this movie is coming from. Like kind of.
It's definitely is more
Tone.
easily digestible movies, and plus it's only like an hour and 40 minutes, so it's definitely one
Right.
of his more easy digestible movies.
Yeah, I think that maybe that's just why I gravitated towards it. It was just like
Yeah.
such an easy watch, so fucking funny throughout. Like actually, like out loud laughing at it.
Yeah.
And just like fun. I'm glad he like if you're making fun of politics and world politicians, like governments, like cool. I'm in. Like we're on the same page.
Yeah. It's got a good tone, good message to it
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, some interesting
so-
number ones, different ones. I like that.
Yeah.
Give it a
Gotta
little
have-
flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave
Like
your
Kubrick himself.
rankings in the comments because my theory is that everybody has a different one. So I'm
Oh, yeah.
curious
People
what
have-
everybody thinks.
We're wrong. No, trust me. Everyone else's list is the right list.
Of course,
Our lists
yeah,
are
of course.
bullshit.
Also, while you're down
Stupid-ass
there
nerd.
rummaging around in the comments on your way out or on your way there, hit subscribe and like this too if you want.
Yeah, along
Yeah.
the way. Yeah.
If you did like it, if you didn't like it, think about just
Get out
giving
of
it another
here.
rewatch. Yeah.
But also, guys, join us. This is the end of the road for Kubrick. It's a sad day
Yeah.
for me personally, but it's been a good journey. It's a nice one. It's fun. But join us on our next dive if we want to reveal right now who we're thinking.
E-T-A.
That's right. Paul Thomas Anderson.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
We're talking Boogie Nights. We're talking Magnolia. We're talking Punch Drunk Love. We got them all. It's coming your way, so stay tuned.
There you go.
And stay gold.
Oh my God! Nicely done.
Dropping the mic.